Some people have come to represent danger and destruction throughout history, having a significant impact on entire nations and societies. Their actions have caused a great deal of suffering, conflict, and fatalities. They are frequently motivated by extreme ideologies, power struggles, or the desire for vengeance. The following list of the 10 most dangerous people in history examines their legacies and the long-lasting effects of their actions on the global stage, ranging from despotic rulers to terrorist masterminds. Number 10. Adolf Hitler. Born in Austria in 1889, Adolf Hitler became Germany's chancellor in 1933 and its Führer in 1934. Militarization, anti-Semitism, and extreme nationalism were hallmarks of his totalitarian government. 6 million Jews perished in the Holocaust as a result of World War II, which was brought on by Hitler's policies and claimed between 70 and 85 million lives overall. Through the use of concentration camps, where millions of people were killed in horrifying circumstances, his regime carried out systematic genocide. Hitler's aggressive expansionist policies, which included the invasion of Poland in 1939, set off a world war that altered relations between countries and resulted in the creation of the United Nations in an attempt to stop such crimes from happening in the future. The ideas he spread serve as a terrifying reminder of the potential for human cruelty and continue to inspire hate groups throughout the world. Number 9. Osama bin Laden. The mastermind of the September 11, 2001 attacks, which claimed almost 3,000 lives and left the United States in unprecedented devastation, was Osama bin Laden, who was born in Saudi Arabia in 1957. He promoted a radical Islamist ideology as the organization's founder, one that defended violence against Western countries and civilians. Many other attacks, such as the 1998 bombings of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, which claimed over 200 lives, were carried out by bin Laden's network. He became a prominent figure in international terrorism due to his capacity to inspire and recruit followers worldwide. The United States began the war on terror after the 9/11 attacks, which resulted in the invasion of Afghanistan and bin Laden's death in 2011. His legacy is still felt by extremist organizations, emphasizing the continuous danger that radical ideologies pose. Number 8. Joseph Stalin. Following Lenin's death in 1924, Georgian-born Joseph Stalin assumed leadership of the Soviet Union. Widespread repression, state-sponsored terror, and the adoption of measures that resulted in mass executions and starvation were characteristics of his reign. During the late 1930s Great Purge, hundreds of thousands of people were put to death or transported to Gulag-style labor camps. Millions of people died during the Holodomor, a man-made famine in Ukraine brought on by Stalin's forced collectivization of agriculture. During World War II, he led with a combination of cunning strategy and harsh tactics, such as the application of scorched earth policies. Stalin is one of history's most infamous characters. Estimates of the number of people killed under his regime range from 20 to 60 million. His legacy is one of extreme human suffering. Number 7. Genghis Khan. After uniting the Mongol tribes and founding the Mongol Empire, which grew to be the largest contiguous empire in history, Genghis Khan, who was born Temujin in 1162. His swift and violent military campaigns resulted in the conquest of enormous swaths of territory through Asia and into Europe. Millions of people were killed during Genghis Khan's invasions, which also destroyed entire cities and massacred their populace. His tactics brought about revolutionary changes in warfare, including the employment of cavalry and psychological warfare. In spite of his brutal conquests, Genghis Khan encouraged communication and trade along the Silk Road, resulting in cross-cultural interactions. His legacy is multifaceted. Although he is regarded as a national hero in Mongolia, his campaigns caused misery and devastation that changed the course of history. Number 6. Vladimir Putin. Having held the positions of Prime Minister and President since the late 1990s, 1952-born Vladimir Putin has emerged as a major player in Russian politics. His aggressive foreign policy, suppression of dissent, and consolidation of power have all been hallmarks of his leadership. The international community has widely condemned and sanctioned Putin for his annexation of Crimea in 2014 and his involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Human rights violations by his government have been alleged, including the persecution of journalists, political opponents, and members of the LGBTQ+ community. Concerns regarding Putin's intentions and the possibility of a military confrontation have been raised by his use of disinformation and cyber warfare, which has further deteriorated international relations. He has established himself as a formidable and dangerous leader on the international scene thanks to his ability to maintain control and shape public opinion. Number 5. Kim Jong-un. Born in 1984, Kim Jong-un is the current supreme leader of North Korea, having taken over the role following the passing of his father, Kim Jong-il, in 2011. Extreme repression, a cult of personality, and a concentration on nuclear weapons development are the hallmarks of his regime. North Korea has defied international sanctions and heightened tensions around the world by launching numerous missiles and conducting nuclear tests under Kim's direction. Human rights violations committed by his government are well known and include public executions, forced labor camps, and stringent limitations on the right to free speech. The economy of North Korea is highly militarized, which causes widespread hunger and poverty among the populace. The international community is concerned about Kim's unpredictable behavior and aggressive posturing, which pose a serious threat to regional and global stability. Number 4. Donald Trump. Born in 1946, Donald Trump led the country as its 45th president from 2017 to 2021. His administration was characterized by divisive language, contentious policies, and a break from conventional diplomatic practice. The Trump administration came under fire for spreading conspiracy theories that eroded confidence in democratic institutions and for its handling of immigration, which included severing families at the border between the United States and Mexico. He was also heavily criticized for downplaying the virus's severity in his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. His supporters attempt to overturn the 2020 election results at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, marked the pinnacle of his presidency. Trump's polarizing political style has left a lasting mark on American culture, fueling a climate of mistrust and animosity that continues to threaten democracy. Number 3.
Qaeda.
Ayman al-Zawahiri. Born in 1951 in Egypt, Ayman al-Zawahiri rose to prominence as the leader of Al-Qaeda after Osama bin Laden was killed in 2011. Al-Zawahiri, a prominent member of the global jihadist movement and a trained physician, has called for violent jihad against Western countries and their allies and participated in multiple terrorist plots. Numerous people have been motivated to join extremist groups by his writings and speeches, which has continued the cycle of violence and terrorism. Al-Zawahiri was connected to both the U.S. Cole attack in 2000 and the bombings of U.S. embassies in 1998. He has attempted to use geopolitical conflicts to further his agenda, which highlights the ongoing threat posed by radical Islamist ideologies, as evidenced by his continued leadership of Al-Qaeda. Though his passing in 2022 was a major blow to the fight against terrorism, his ideas are still relevant today. Number 2. Julius Caesar. Born in 100 BCE, Julius Caesar was a Roman statesman and general whose acts were crucial in bringing about the change from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. His military victories, especially in Gaul, increased Rome's sphere of influence, brought great wealth, but also resulted in a great deal of bloodshed. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, it sparked a civil war that eventually propelled him to power as a lifelong dictator. Many senators were concerned about his concentration of power and contempt for traditional republican governance, which led to his assassination on the Ides of March in 44 BCE. Caesar's ambition and the violence that accompanied his ascent to power contributed to the fall of the Republic and the establishment of imperial rule, leaving a legacy of political unrest and conflict, even though he is frequently praised for his military prowess and political reforms. Number 1. Saddam Hussein. Iraqi-born Saddam Hussein held the office of president from 1979 until his overthrow in 2003. His reign was characterized by cruelty, tyranny, and the deployment of chemical weapons against both his own people and foreign enemies. The most well-known incident was the 1988 chemical attack in Halabja, which claimed thousands of civilian Kurdish lives. Following Hussein's 1990 invasion of Kuwait, the Gulf War and ensuing international sanctions severely damaged Iraq's economy. Due to his disobedience of the UN refusal to disarm, the United States launched an invasion of Iraq in 2003, which resulted in his capture and execution in 2006. Hussein left behind a legacy of violence and tyranny, and his actions fueled the ongoing sectarian conflict in Iraq as well as long-lasting instability in the region. These people are frequently recognized for their profound influence on history through acts of violence, oppression, and warfare that caused great suffering and fatalities all over the world. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.